Hello, there may be some people watching this video who don't know who I am, in which case I will introduce myself. I am Phil Jakes, David's slightly older brother, and I can now state that we have a 75-year history together. Although those early years are a bit fuzzy, and there was that 10 to 12 year gap in our relationship in our late teens, early 20s, when David made an abrupt change in his career path. David was in his third and final year of his business course at Ryerson and the final exams, and his likely graduation from the business course was imminent. To everyone's surprise, he decided to quit. It seems that he had had a personal epiphany and decided that this was not the direction that he wanted to go. Our dad struggled with the timing of David's decision and asked if I would intervene to bring him to his senses, and so that he would not throw away the 3 years that he invested in his formal education. But it was clear that David had made up his mind. When I asked him what triggered this last-minute change of course, he said to me, "I suddenly had this vision of myself getting up at 7 o'clock every morning." He really didn't like that getting up at 7 in the morning part. Traveling downtown, briefcase in hand to an office, and coming home again at 5. And it just seemed all wrong. That was his explanation and his impetus to act. I thought it was a brave decision. It didn't matter what anyone else thought. To David, it didn't matter. This was something that he needed to do, and I supported that. My role as brother did not include me trying to give him practical advice on how he should live his life. And so David decided to take the path less traveled, or you might say the path more traveled, and what followed was at least 10 years of exploring and discovering as many parts of the world as he could. It was an interesting period for him and for the family. I was enchanted by his stories, and I lived vicariously through him. On the other hand, when he came back to visit Penny and me, he was mildly seduced by the trappings of consumerism, especially our stereo equipment. But that didn't last, and he was soon off again to another part of the world. But one of the moments that sticks with me was when I was still living at our family home on Gradwell Avenue. David had been away for a year or two, and it was one of his first visits back home. I can't recall if he gave us advance notice or not. It was often a surprise. I think he had on a big coat and perhaps a beard, but as I opened the door, he approached me and smothered me with a huge bear hug. I think it may have lasted 10 seconds or more. I was a bit overwhelmed and not sure what to think. I had never received a hug like that from mom or dad, a girlfriend, or for that matter, any man or woman. This was the moment I learned about hugs. David educated me about this. In Europe, he informed me this is the typical way we greet friends and family. They are very expressive with their emotions. There were no such expressions in our family. There were no hugs. The best Mum could manage was a light peck on the cheek when we were arriving home after an absence or saying goodbye for a while. "I love you" was never heard in our family, not because it wasn't there, but it was simply how this generation interacted. Expressions of feelings, love, and heaven forbid sex were strictly verboten. So thank you, David, for introducing me to hugs and for all the positive things that have flowed from that first experience. Happy 75th birthday, brother.